we're about to share with you 6 skills that have been helpful to us and other parents.
And you guarantee that they work?
No guarantees, Al. Not every skill will work with every child, nor will every skill suit your personality. What these 6 skills will do, however, is create a climate of respect in which the spirit of cooperation can begin to grow.
Well, I've got my notebook open.
Let's take the situation you mentioned earlier, Al, of the child who neglects to feed the dog. Instead of blaming and accusing, "I can't believe you still haven't fed the dog. You don't deserve to have a pet." We can describe. Either describe what you see or describe the problem.
Jason, Prince is hungry. He's waiting by his bowl.
Here's another possibility. Instead of, "How many times do I have to remind you to feed the dog?" you can give your child information. Tell him something he might not already be aware of.
You know, Jason, a dog does best with a regular mealtime. Prince needs to be fed every afternoon between 4:30 and 5.
Abby would say, "Why don't you feed him yourself?"
Then she needs additional information. Something like, "Abby, when we decided to get Prince, you gave your word that you would be in charge of feeding him."
Here's another option. You could offer Abby a choice. Children don't like to be ordered to do things, but if you give them a choice about how or when to do something, it's easier for them to take responsibility.
Jason, do you prefer to give Prince his dried food first or his canned food?
Dry food, he likes that the best.
Notice, most of our comments are brief. Children dislike long complaints and lectures. "You promised before we got a dog that you would feed him every day. Now this is the 3rd time this week I've had to remind you, and I'm getting sick and tired of it. Dad and I do our part, and it's time that you started doing your part. We're not your slaves." Instead, say it with a word.
Jason, the dog.
With children, the shorter the reminder, the better.
Here's another possibility. You can describe what you feel, but with one important condition. Talk about your own feelings and make no comment about the child's character or personality. Instead of, "You can't be counted on to do anything. Do you know what's wrong with you? You are just plain irresponsible." Watch the difference when mother expresses her feelings without attacking her child.
I get very upset when I come home after work and find that the dog still hasn't been fed.
Now, a child might not like hearing that, but because he hasn't been attacked, it's easier for him to hear your words and do what needs to be done.
Finally, we can write a note. Notes are wonderful for kids of all ages. Even little ones who can't read love receiving notes. And teenagers especially like notes because, as one of them told us, they don't get any louder. Instead of nagging and scolding, you might simply leave a note on the door of the refrigerator.
These are all good ideas, but what bothers me is that you can't let the dog starve. Why isn't the mother feeding him? Would it be wrong for her to?
Not at all. But if she does, and if she resents it, then she can let her child know, "I had to feed the dog today, and I really resented having to do it." The idea is we want to be real and honest and authentic with our kids.
So, we just looked at 6 possible ways to engage our children's cooperation, ways that leave them feeling good about themselves and us feeling good about ourselves.